Hello everybody and welcome to another Oscar prediction video where today we will be taking a look at the category of Best Original Screenplay. Now some of you might be a little bit confused because in the previous video I said we would be discussing documentary feature next, and I don't usually like to go back when I say things like that. Usually I commit then and there with what category I'm going to do next, but this is an exception because well, I'll put it simply. I thought that the PGA was going to go a different way than they ended up going, but they didn't. So now I have to decide. I was trying to decide if I was going to do documentary feature, and I was like, no, it's still hard. I need more time to think about it. And ultimately, of the available categories, the one I'm the most confident on at the moment is Best Original Screenplay. But really, all the categories I'm going to be discussing for the next week, because there's one more week till the Oscars, are going to be difficult. They're going to be toss-ups. This is the only one where I'm fairly confident I know what's going to happen, but after this point, it's going to evolve into some educated guesswork. So with that out of the way, let's get started. And I will say, you can find most of the scripts from the movies this year on simplyscripts.com. That's where I got 3 of these. However, 2 of them are not available, and you'll probably be able to guess which ones, and I sort of had to make my own mock-up of the scripts. So, with that out of the way, 5th most likely to win is The Worst Person in the World. So this nomination was a huge surprise on nomination day. Most people did not predict it. I think I had it at number 11 in my predictions. I think what people expected was being the Ricardos would get on because it was Aaron Sorkin and because the actors were in the conversation, but that missed, and I was actually hoping it would be Mass, which is a really, really great script from a great movie, but that also missed. As of right now, I have not seen this movie. I'm going to try to watch it before the Oscars, but I've heard very, very good things about the movie and about the script in particular, and so I understand that a lot of people are going to try to vote for it, and I've heard some people make the case that it's the best in the category. However, I think it's very, very unlikely that this wins. For one thing, it's an international feature, which puts it at a little bit of a disadvantage, but what's a much bigger disadvantage is the fact that this is a movie that is not up for Best Picture, and all 4 of the other nominees in this category are up for Best Picture. And if you look at the history of this category, and of both screenplay categories actually, the last time a movie that was not up for Best Picture won Best Screenplay was 2004 for Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which that movie came out in a year where they only had 5 Best Picture nominees. That was back when it was just 5. And I think you can make an argument that Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind would have gotten on if there had been 10 nominees. There's ultimately no way of saying that, but in the current era of 10 Best Picture nominees, we have never had a film win screenplay without a Best Picture nomination. So I don't expect Worst Person in the World to be the first script to break that trend. That's not to say it's a trend that can never be broken, but it would have to be for a script that had a lot more accolades and a lot more awards to it, like possibly in an adapted screenplay this year, but I'm not going to hold my breath. So I don't have much more to say on the script itself because I really don't know this movie, but congratulations to the writers for getting on. I don't think it stands any real chance at winning, but this is one of those cases where the nomination really is the win. 4th most likely to win is Don't Look Up. Okay, so this comes from Adam McKay, who previously won an Oscar for writing The Big Sick and was also nominated for Vice. And he's doing a movie that's up for Best Picture that initially was very, very divided when it came out, and we did see some people show a lot of support for it. It clearly had the support to get in for picture and screenplay and all that, but on film Twitter, this movie is generally pretty hated. Or maybe not hated, but not on the same level of quality as the other Best Picture nominees, certainly. And in terms of screenplay, I feel like if this was going to win screenplay, we would have seen it win something in the lead up to this. The thing is, I feel bad because I 100% agree with Adam McKay and the message he's trying to convey. I just think the way he goes about conveying this message is very sloppy. Um, and when it comes to the screenplay, there's certainly good ideas in there, but it definitely needed a rewrite. It needed to be trimmed down. Um, so I could see people going for this just because they like the movie and they like the metaphor and they like the message. But I think the other three movies in this category are more liked and people respect the writers more. Not that Adam McKay is not respected, clearly he is, but I don't know. I just don't see this winning. I think people would be really, really upset and furious if it won. And I think if it's going to win anything, it's going to be either score or editing, which people would really be upset about. But yeah, I don't see this screenplay winning. Third most likely to win is King Richard. So King Richard is also a Best Picture nominee, and this script really should have looked up the writers of this first. But people, so this movie is one of the top contenders in Best Picture. I'd say it's in the top five, and Will Smith is listed as number one to win Best Actor. So the movie performed very, very well and is considered one of the top favoring contenders. So it would make sense to consider the script, but the thing is, the script itself, while not a bad script by any means, is not a terribly inspired one either. It does appear to be largely a traditional biopic, and it's really the actors that are being singled out. And the script seems to just be here because people like the movie. There's nothing about this script that makes it really unique. It's more the way it's directed and acted that makes the movie special, and the way it's edited. So I just don't know if I necessarily see this winning. I think the competition is a little bit tough, and if it had anything major, if it had any major wins leading up to this, then maybe I would feel differently. But as is, I feel like people like this movie and they're going to be willing to award it in other places, but I don't think it has any real chance to win the Oscar for Screenplay. And now we come to the top two, and this is where things get really interesting. Second most likely to win is Belfast. So this is an interesting race. It's a two-horse race as far as I'm concerned, which means maybe one of the other contenders could win. But Belfast is written by Kenneth Branagh, who's never won an Oscar, and this movie has won the Golden Globe, which is significant because it was up against original and adapted screenplays, and it also won the Critics' Choice Award. But Critics' Choice Award, I sort of take that with a grain of salt because they're more focused on predicting the Oscar rather than rewarding the proper film. So you'll see it sort of throughout my predictions, I'm sort of second guessing whatever won Critics' Choice. And so in case of this film, the script is certainly good and it has a lot of memorable moments in it. But I just don't think it'll hold up. Now, what's special about this film is the fact that the movie that I have in number one could potentially be more divisive, and I'll get to that in a second. But this movie really does. It's a kind of movie that most people like, and that it will have support for it. With that said, it did still underperform with nominations because it didn't get editing or cinematography or Katrina Balfe. It did well enough, but it didn't do as well as it was widely expected to. And so I think there's a very likely chance that this screenplay could win, and I think the Globe and the Critics' Choice are definitely good indicators that the script is well liked, and if nothing else, it's in the top two. But the script that I believe is winning the Oscar, number one most likely to win, is Licorice Pizza. So this, I believe, is Paul Thomas Anderson's 11th nomination without a win, and they're not all just for writing, there's mixed in for directing, writing, and producing. And Licorice Pizza is a film that a lot of people really like and consider a very strong, likable achievement from him. And there's a sense of it's his time. This is Paul Thomas Anderson's time to finally win an Academy Award. And there was a point in time when I thought that the film could be hurt because A, it didn't get as many nominations as it could have, it only got 3, and B, the whole sequences with John Michael Higgins and his Asian wives, which I those scenes bothered me when I saw the movie, but I do get the other side of the argument too. It's a complicated thing, and I get why there's a lot of discourse about it, but also it is a relatively minor part of the movie. So I was not really sure if that was going to affect it, but it has won. It won the BAFTA, and it won something else significant. Maybe that was just it. It won BAFTA, and we know it's going to win WGA because Belfast is not eligible for WGA. So I think by default we're assuming that it's the frontrunner. I remember the discussion people had was like, oh, they thought that Licorice Pizza was going to win WGA and that Belfast was going to win BAFTA, and it was a surprise when it ended up being the reverse. I think the fact that Belfast is a British movie, you would think it has the leg up in BAFTA, but no, they went with Licorice Pizza, and I think on film Twitter I've seen a lot of support for Paul Thomas Anderson, even though I've also seen some criticism. And so I think I would not rule it out for it to be Belfast, but Licorice Pizza is coming on very strong with a lot of its wins and a lot of its nominations, and it just feels like it's his time, let's give him this. But the thing is, this is a close race, and Belfast is a movie that's nominated for 7 Oscars that if it doesn't win this, it's probably not winning anything else. And so it's really, really close between the two of them. But at the moment, I'm going to stick with my guns and say Licorice Pizza just feels like a screenplay winner. It feels like the sort of thing the Academy goes for. I'm taking a deep breath right now because I feel like every category after this is just going to be harder and harder to predict. And the further away from the Oscars I release these videos, the more time I have to think, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But you know what? Licorice Pizza is going to win WGA, and people are talking about how much they like the movie, and they're going to want to give it an Oscar, and it can't win anything else. So Belfast, I think, is going to be this year's Trial of Chicago 7, an early Best Picture frontrunner that gradually loses momentum and eventually wins nothing on the night. So that is my prediction. Thank you very much for watching. Tune in for the next video, but I'm not going to tell you at this time what the next video is because I will decide when I make it. See you later. Goodbye.